Hello and welcome to the show. In February 2025, Consumer Reports released the shocking results of their study about hair products marketed primarily to Black women, specifically synthetic hair, chemical relaxers, and hair dye. A lot of people were stunned to hear how many of the products tested were found to have harmful, even in some cases, cancer-causing chemicals inside. Shocking, but not enough to prompt a ban on any of these products, and certainly not enough to stop us from using the products, right? Let's just be real about this. So here to help us better understand what's happening, our public health researchers with Emory University, Dr. Carmen Marcet. He specializes in identifying harmful chemicals women and children are being exposed to with these products. We also have Morehouse sociologist, Dr. Tara Taylor, who says the bigger issue here is rooted in environmental racism. And she also happens to be a licensed stylist, a cosmetologist who's been doing hair for years. And joining us also is board-certified dermatologist, Dr. Aaliyah Brown, who says she's seen some of the side effects and some of the issues that stem from chemicals showing up right at her door, right at her practice. I want to thank all of you for being here to talk about this very important issue. Let's just start. I mean, and you're all scientists and researchers in your own right, but we're not. So help us understand, I guess let's start from a truly chemical standpoint. What happens when you've got synthetic hair? How can that hurt?
Mm-hmm. So a lot of these chemicals are, as you said, carcinogens. They can cause cancer. Other chemicals in those products are endocrine disruptors. So they might have effects on your thyroid or your reproductive system. And so these are the things that we're worried about. And so they can get into your body and they can start having some of these really harmful effects.
So what does that look like, though? Is it because it's close to the skin? Is it close to the scalp? I mean, what if it's, a bun that's up, or is it hanging down by the neck that it's like, for those of us who don't understand, what is the actual transfer of the toxin? How does that work?
I mean, some can be absorbed through the skin. So really just having these products next to your skin, they're able to get in through the skin, into your bloodstream, and move around the body. In other cases, you might be breathing them in. So many of the chemicals that were identified are gases. So they might come off of the hair products. Just wearing them, when they're heated, when they're washed, all of those things could bring these chemicals out.
Interesting. And Dr. I see you nodding your head. I want you to weigh in here.
Yeah. As you were speaking, I was thinking about the process of women wearing their hair braided with the extension braids, and sometimes you actually use a lighter at the end to seal it. And so I was thinking about that in terms of the heat.
Absolutely.
And that's one way that it's essentially released, right?
Or even when,
gas.
Exactly. And then also when you roll it and you dip it in hot water, once again, more heat.
And even just touching the hair and then going to eat a bag of chips. People don't think about the microfibers that come off of the hair.
Wow.
And so you're ingesting at that
I was
point.
today years old just even thinking about that, right? How often as we're getting dressed where we're
touching
eating
our hair.
Yeah.
Especially kids.
So the question I know you all get in some form or fashion is, if the toxins are that bad, why doesn't every Black woman, and let's be clear, white women, Latina women, Asian women, lots of women wear extensions, but this kind of our thing, right? Why don't more of us have more health issues? Why aren't more of us having cancers connected to? Why is there not a direct link, given the number of people, from girls to adults, who have synthetic hair?
There's a couple of reasons, probably. I mean, one is some people are going to be more susceptible to these chemicals. So because of their genetic makeup, because of other health conditions they might have, that might make them more likely to get sick. The other reason may be the combinations of chemicals. So no one's exposed to just one thing. And so how these things are working with each other, and then how they get into the body and start working together to cause some of these effects could be part of the problem.
So, Doc, I'm curious, what do you see in your practice that looks like a really direct, like there's the proof, so to speak?
So a lot of times when people are getting their hair styled, especially with synthetic hair for braiding, patients will come in with what we call an allergic contact dermatitis. The simple way to explain that is it's a rash that's very itchy, it's very uncomfortable. It can start around the hairline, it can be above the ears, and even throughout the scalp there's irritation. So you may see some redness, you may see some scales, swelling, and the patients feel like ants are crawling on
There's
their
a
head.
reason why.
And they're patting.
There's a reason why. You even though they have pat, I get it, right? Everybody, there's something is irritating your skin for a reason.
Correct.
Dr. Taylor, let's unpack this concept of environmental racism as it relates to these products, because you're all nodding your head in agreement. What does that mean for someone who's like, how's this racist?
Yes, when we think about environmental racism, particularly thinking about the idea that a particular group is disproportionately impacted or affected by particular toxins, and also the inability to basically be able to control or be able to impose regulation that helps them in their population. So the idea, so we often think about environmental racism with regards to people living near landmines and that they've been redlined into a particular area. But what we do understand is that these particular products are predominantly being used by Black women, and there isn't any protections, as well as the fact that Black women are not being told that there are any toxins in these particular products. So that makes it pretty much move into the realm of this is a type of racist type of experience that some people are not, that Black women particularly are experiencing.
Right.
Yes.
So when we get to the part where there are alternatives, right? Because we can all just use human hair, except that's so much more expensive.
Yes.
And then there's some who say, and that doesn't completely clear you either because it's still been treated in some form of fashion. Explain to any of you.
Yeah.
What is?
I mean, human hair is a good alternative. Banana fibers or plant-based is another alternative to the synthetic hair, but both of which are more expensive than the synthetic hair that you can find in any beauty supply store.
Right.
So we're trying to figure out, well, how did we get here? You know, it mass-produced. Manufacturers want to have an increased profit margin, so they're using products that are not probably the healthiest. And as she said, there's no regulation, so they don't have to display what's in the product.
So let me pause right there just quickly, because I think the Consumer Report study raised a lot of eyebrows.
Absolutely.
I guess you guys already knew. This was no surprise to you. And we should say that many of the manufacturers in that study said that they questioned the results, right? So in fairness, we have to give that information. But why are the results not alarming enough for there to be some conversation about disclosures, federal regulation, or some legislation?
So one of the things that we know with the FDA in terms of cosmetic products is that there isn't a requirement of testing. The consumer has to basically make a complaint. And so to the point where you mentioned the dermatitis that women were experiencing, I mean, unfortunately, we've normalized pain with many of the the relaxers that Black women do in terms of braiding too tightly.
It's burning. That means it's working. No, that means it's burning.
Exactly. And so the onus is on the consumer to say that maybe perhaps the product that I'm using is problematic. So the FDA doesn't actually regulate making sure that the product comes in being healthy for us.
But if the Consumer Product Safety Commission said, we're recalling a product because there's too much lead and children are, it's a choking hazard or kids are eating this, that would be an issue. I guess it's obviously it's not makeup, but where is the line?
That's where the frustration comes in.
Yes.
Because, if you think about lead, if you think about nicotine, there are all these huge campaigns to let the public know what they're being exposed to. But that goes back to the environmental racism where there's not enough, pushback, whether we're being treated away, being in a certain group of people, where these things are displayed on the packaging.
And we are voluntarily wearing it, right?
Exactly. But patients should not have to look and read labels, to figure out, is this harmful for me?
So we're going to pause right here. This is so interesting. More on this conversation about what we need to know about hair dyes, relaxers, and all of this after the break. Stay with us. We'll be right back.